Hello everyone and welcome back to Agent Nagash, which is a channel dedicated to Age of Sigmar, and in this video we're going to be returning back to the Army Archive, and the latest series for the Archive is going to be the Gloomspite Gitz. Now I noticed quite a few of you wanted to see Caldon Overlords, something of the Dwarf description. However, I do not have the Caldon Overlords Battle Tome. I don't really have the funds at the moment to get the Battle Tome as well, so what's going to happen is that I'll do Gloomspites as they were quite popular, and also Destruction doesn't have too much content on YouTube compared to, like all these other things, so it'd be quite nice for Destruction to have another video for myself. That's what I personally feel like anyway, and like I said, there's a few people who wanted it. So we're going to go into the Gloomspites, and this is going to be their lore video. So firstly, they do have quite a lot of lore. Now I'm not going to go into this book nearly as much detail as I did with the Flesh-Eater Courts, because I told Flesh-Eater Courts was my baby. I was going to go into much detail as possible. Like I say, it's just under 600 hours worth of detail going into Flesh-Eater Courts. Whilst the Gitz, on the other hand, I will look into them quite a bit. I'll look at the different aspects of their lore in this video, but I'm not going to go into huge, intense detail like I did Flesh-Eater Courts. Cool. But anyway, now that they've got the Ramblin to the side, let's have a look at their lore. So firstly, in the old world, the Gloomspite Gitz were known as the Night Goblins. Now these were goblins that tend to... They did come out at night, but more reason why they were called that is because they tend to live underground. And when I say tend to live underground, they usually live underground all the time in tight confined spaces. They only came out if they had a significant reason to do that, because that wasn't their favourite type of warfare on the surface, and big open plains and battles like that were just like not confined, wasn't their specialty. Like I say, their specialty was sort of like confined caves and things like that, where they could really use their skill set against the enemy. Now, the main sort of leader we have for the Night Goblins in the old world, or the world that was, is Skarsnik. Now, Skarsnik was a big Night Goblin. Well, when I say big, I mean mainly he had a big hat. But he certainly did have a big squig, which was Gobber. Is it a squig called Gobber? Something along that line. And basically, it's a massive squig, and he used to have it as a pet, and it used to come to all his battles. Now, that's really all there is to say about the Night Goblins, and I know there's loads I could go into detail of them. However, it's just basically me summarising that they were in the world that was. There's plenty of videos out there that tell you much more on the Night Goblins, and essentially they were part of the Orcs and Goblins army, in the game anyway. And you could take them in different types of forms. You could even try and make an army around the Night Goblins purely, and then they got transferred into Age of Sigmar, firstly as Moonclan Grots, and now they have been re-imaged into the Gloomspite Gitz that we have today. Now the Gloomspite Gitz, the fantastic thing I love about them is that they sort of united a lot of the shattered factions that were the Orcs and Goblins, and they've sort of united quite a few of them. Most of the Goblin ones, not all of them, not Git Mob, but they've united quite a few of them. So now that we've got the sort of a little bit of foundations of where they came from, let's have a look at their lore of where they are today. And that is, a myriad are the grots and monsters that make up the Gloomspite Gitz. Dank and foul are the caverns and caves, the swamps and ravines, the web-strewn wilds in which they make their lairs. Their armies comprise of desperate tribes of Moonclan and Spiderfang Grots, which scuttle to war alongside lumbering Troggos, foul-tempered Gargants, and abounding masses of slaver-jawed squigs. Well might their enemies wonder what could unite such an arcanic beings into an army capable of conquest and slaughter on a grand scale. For the answer, one need only look to the darkest corner of the heavens. The Shyish Necroquake has unleashed sorcerous energies that swell to a flood tide and threaten to drown all life. An age of fell omens has gripped the mortal realms, and amongst the most malevolent of these has been the rise of the Bad Moon. This monstrous celestial object ploughs erratically through the skies, following a madcap course that trails darkness and insanity in its wake, and heralding a strange eclipse in which loonstone rains from the skies and foul fungi spread like a plague. Whenever the Bad Moon draws nigh, the Gloomspite hordes surge from their lairs in their hundreds of thousands. They worship the leering lunar body as a many-faced aspect of Gorkamorka, the god of destruction, and seek to catch his attention with deeds of spiteful violence, so spectacular that the Bad Moon will halt its wanderings The Gloomspite Gitz believe that this will usher in an age of endless twilight. Amidst the everlasting shadows, they will be free at least to sweep across the lands and tear down every last bastion of chaos, order and death alike until the bad moon reigns over all. Okay, so that's just a bit of a summary of what the Gloomspites are, where they come from. What I like about that, though, is that it really does show that since the Necrocrate, so since the, repercussions of what Nagash did, it sort of allowed for all these other races to sort of become more powerful and have more of a presence in the mortal realms. I think that's quite cool, how it all links together. Of course, it's sort of, well, I say it's sort of just by coincidence in Games Workshop. You think, oh, this is a good example to now put these guys in, this is how we're going to do their update and fit it in the lore. But then again, they would have planned this book, along the sort of times as they were planning the Legions and the Nagash book. So they knew what they were doing, and it's a good plan, and I liked how it turned out. Right, so now we're going to look at a bit more into that. So we're going to look at the rise of the Gloomspite Gitz. So in the dark corners of the mortal realms, a new power is stirring. Dripping tunnels and caverns echo to the clash of gongs, the thump of drums, and the shrill war cries of massing grots. Armies of goblinoid warriors and lumbering monsters set out on the warpath, seeking to plunge the surface world into darkness forevermore. Greenskins have infested the mortal realms since the earliest days of the Age of Myth, when Sigmar travelled the realms in search of human tribes to raise up civilizations. Everywhere he looked, he found orcs and grots, already huge in population. Through the spread of cities and empires drove the Greenskins into the wilds. Their numbers and their capacity for primal destruction never lessened, even as the Age of Chaos saw kingdom after kingdom scoured from history. Still the orcs and grot endured through tenacity, brilliance and cunning. Some greenskin tribes became nomads, staying alive by ploughing a constant path of destruction across the realms. Others simply continued their feral existence amidst the wilds of such primeval ferocities that even the hordes of chaos could not overcome them. Countless more, most especially the Moon Clan and the Spiderfang Grot, took shelter in the dankest and darkest corners of the mortal realms. Grots are neither particularly brave nor especially mighty beings. They are, however, such a bunch of cunning, conniving, spiteful and self-serving little hooligans that their natural capacity for violence, mischief, more than makes up for their lack of physical or spiritual fortitude. If there is one thing grots know, it is how to look out for themselves. Thus ranged the vast majority of grot tribes, vanished into the darkest places of the mortal realms, where they could weather the storm. Moonclan grots shun daylight, even at the best of times. It burns their skin and hurts their beady eyes. They worship the celestial abomination known as the Bad Moon, and it is from this that they get their name. Conversely, the bogeyman of the Moonclan lore is known as a glareface Fraz-legit, and is depicted as a cruel star or seeing bull of sentinine glare. The Moonclan grots were thus only too happy to vanish into the lurk lairs, breeding squigs, cultivating weird mushrooms, and raiding the surface only for the juiciest of quarry. Spiderfang grots are no keener on the bright and beautiful places of the realms than are their subterranean cousins. Their entire culture is based around the breeding, rearing and riding of myriad species of arachnoid beasts. As the vast majority of these eight-legged horrors thrive in the darksome and dingy conditions, the Spiderfang grots begin to make their lairs in such places, deep ravines choked with tangled woodland, fortitude jungles and swamplands where little light penetrates the canopy, cave networks and temple ruins, so huge that they support the vast spider network of webs, nests and the eggs that lie within. Trogos too thrived in the dampest and foulest reaches in those places where pinnacle grunge accumulate far away from the light of the heavens. That was where Trogos spawned. They chewed their way through the roots of mountains, lurked amidst the stagnant waters of the deepest swamps, and slumbered in fungus thick caverns, biding their time until the hunger for flesh called them forth again. Throughout the age of chaos, these desperate gloom-dwelling factions spread far and wide, while the champions of chaos gods battled for the surface lands. Moonclan grots slunk through caverns far below, digging crude fortifications into cave mouths, raising fungus-like shanty cities amidst the shadows, and breeding ever stranger and more dangerous strains of squiggly beasts and perceiver insects. Here and there, the expansions would break through into the lower workings of Fireslayer magma holds or Skaven burrows. At such times, the clangour of war echoed through the tunnels, and more than one Moonclan lair was annihilated by the vengeful retaliations of accidentally disturbed foes. Yet just as often, the sudden onslaught of madly stabbing grot loons was enough to overrun the surprised defenders, and in this way entire new Moonclan lurk lairs were established amidst the conquered ruins of other civilizations. As the Moonclan grots spread like fungi through the bedrock of the tunnels of the realms, they also came across Spiderfang, Broodness, and reeking trogholes. On occasion, this too led to bloodshed. However, grots are not as natural warlike as Uruks, and are less inclined towards violence for its own sake, and more often than not the grots and Trogos found common cause. The Moonclan were experts in raising fungi and brewing potions that the Spiderfang prized greatly. These they traded for various hallucinations or poisonous substances milked from arachnic beasts, and used by the Moonclan shamans for all manner of unsavoury purposes. Soon, though, enough tentative truces and barter, a Commonex turned into somewhat shaky alliance when the Moonclan and Spiderfang grots discovered that by fighting together they could drive off predatory monsters and armed foes that sought to oust them from their territories. So did the first Gloomspite hordes form. They conjugated in the realms dark corners out of a mutual self-interest and the spiteful desire to murder all those who wandered into their lairs. Okay, so now that we've learned a bit about, like what the different parts of them are, the Spiderfang, the Trolls, and the, the Moonclan grots. Now let's have a look about this bad moon that everyone's been talking about. So looking at the bad moon rising, like all greenskins, the Gloomspite Gitz worship Gorkamorka, sometimes one god, sometimes two separate beings known as Gork and Mork. Gorkamorka is brutally cunning, his Gork half, and cunningly brutal, his Mork half. He is the thunder of drums, the crunch of knuckles into flesh, and the roar of an avalanche, and the crack of fangs through bone. Gorkamorka is an avatar of primal destruction that will one day lead the great Warg to sweep away all traces of civilization. So believe the Uruks and Grots at any rate. Every sub-race of greenskins worship their own aspect of Gorkamorka, and each mountains their own myths of their deity deeds. Tales of various depict Gorkamorka as a hungry mountain, a mighty beast, or lumbering two-headed giant. To the Gloomspite Gitz, he is the personification as a huge and malevolent celestial body known as the Bad Moon, whose vast bulk blocks out the light of the heavens, replacing it with a sickly luminous that causes a weird fungi to flourish and drives mortals to madness. To the dire and misfortune of every other sentient race in the realms, the Bad Moon is every bit as powerful as the Gloomspite Gitz claim, and more. Now, in this grim era of fell portents and dark omens, the Bad Moon is rising to its highest point. The dead rise in unprecedented numbers and assault the living with ever greater ferocity. Wars are fought for the possession of souls and the rulership of eternal underworlds. Dread signs and hateful visions beevil the minds of seers and prophets all across the mortal realms. The celestial void convulses with strange astrological and phenomena and ominous conjunctions, and barreling from amidst these come the threatening immensities of the Bad Moon. The leering and astronomical object has always eviled the skies of the mortal realms, trailing mayhem and destruction and insanity in its wake. Yet now it moves like a runaway boulder through the void. Some believe that it is released of an endless spell upon the realms that has conjured the Bad Moon forth, that it feels the pull and kinship of the feral magic and wishes to maraud alongside them. Others claim that Gorkamorka, while having no real stake in the soul wars, simply wishes to hurl himself into the fray again, or even that the Bad Moon feeds upon the soul energies released by such a ceaseless conflict. Whatever the truth of the origins, the effects of the Bad Moon upon the Gloomspite Gitz is electric. The squigs and spiders sense its coming first, becoming even more aggressive. Then begins the visions and grot shamans chanting and mumbling, their features twisting into gruesome parodies of the leering lunar visage as they widely moon their surprised fellow grots. Tribal drums thump through deep tunnels and caverns, and the grots become agitated and fractured as the lunatic urge, often referred to as the Gloomspite, comes upon them. As the Bad Moon rumbles low over the surface lands, it extends its encroached energies deep into the caves below. Driven to cackling frenzy, the Gloomspite hordes surge upwards like ocean tides, drawn by the pull of a more conventional moon. Millions of shrieking grots and lumbering trogoths, bounding squigs, scuttling arachnids and saw gargants pour up through every crack, crevice and dripping cave entrance with murder on their minds. As the Bad Moon looms overhead, it renders everything clammy and dank. Terrible loon storms swell out of nowhere to fill the skies with racing shreds of cloud, while wrapped gravites tear at the land below. The pale, foul-smelling fungi known as the loon caps sprout upon every kind of surface, be it stone, soil, metal, flesh or bone, into the weird lunar glooming spill of the Gloomspite hordes, falling upon all in their path with an unhinged savagery and quite removed from their normal self-serving cowardice. Cities are torn down and temples toppled as the Gloomspite Gitz seek to stab entire nations, or even delight in stabbing their foes in the back to prove their cunning. Only this, they believe, will impress the Bad Moon so much that it halts its nomadic rampaging and lingers forever in the skies above. So will they usher in the sacred age of the Everdank, and in that preparational twilight of monterized and befoulment, the Gloomspite Gitz will conquer the surface worlds in Gorkamorka's name. Okay, so that is going to be it for the lore for them. That's all I'm going to do. If you'd like to get the Battle Tome yourself, there's loads more lore in there. However, I think that this does a nice summary of the Gloomspite Gitz. Like I said, this lore video has gone on for nearly 20 minutes. Yeah, pretty much 20 minutes now. So I think that's enough for them, and it means that we can go on to their units when we go into review them in the army videos. And of course, when I go into the units, I will talk. I'll do like a quick little summary about the lore for them as well. I think it'd be quite nice. And yes, so that is the Gloomspite Gitz, and I'll be honest, this is the first time reading through the Battle Tome for myself anyway, because I bought it recently, and because I love the look of the army, but I haven't read through it yet. And actually, reading through some of its lore, because I was just thinking of like old orcs and goblins sort of lore for them, but no, it's actually quite it's quite nice. It's nice to hear how they've ascended and how they sort of united all these fractured like aspects of what orcs and goblins were. So yeah, it's nice to have them a bit more united. And when I say a bit more, I mean the goblins are very much united now, very much cohesion. I know we haven't got the Gitz mob in here, but we've got most of the things. We've got trolls. It's nice to have a troll in like this battle time, and you can even have a troll army, which is absolutely awesome. Of course, we'll review that later. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this, and then the next thing I'm going to look at is the allegiance abilities. How I think I'm going to review the units though for the Gloomspites is because they've got a lot of units. I'm probably going to review them as a case of review the Moon Clan, review the Spider Fang, review the Trolls, and then I think that's it, because otherwise it's going to be too much to do in like one big video or something like that. So I think that's how I'm going to divide it, and then I might do a hero separate videos for the armies that have quite a few heroes and stuff. When I mean that, I mean basically the Moon Clan Grots. But yes guys, so that is the lore video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please like, subscribe and comment down below. So that was all free for you guys to do so, and massively helps support the channel. If you're wondering what that beeping is going on, it's basically just I've got a Discord notifications coming up on the computer, and for some reason I can't get that volume turned down. But anyway, like I say, if you like the video, please like I say, comment down below. If you've got a Gloomspite army, please let me know down below. I would also say I've put up a community chat thing on the YouTube. But if you've got Gloomspite Gitz, you've got photos of your army, and you'd like to have them on the channel, please send them to me, and I'd be more than happy to put them on the videos rather than just GW art, which I think just gets a little bit boring. So yes guys, please do that. If you'd also like to support the channel a bit further, I have now set up a Patron account, and the reason for doing that is it allows me to have support coming in to help the channel grow without me putting any adverts on my videos, because I don't want to put any adverts on my videos, because like I've said before many times, I think that would really sort of annoy viewers, so I don't want to do that. And all the money from Patreon goes straight into the channel. It really helps with being able to afford battle tomes, like I said at the start of the video, to help me buy things like the Carolyn Overlords one, like the Bone Splitter one, things like that. Also, it will really help towards getting things like more equipment, like a better microphone, cameras, like you see me do like one of the well, I think I did like, yeah, I did 3 hobby and chats, and in those, yeah, they're quite good actually with the camera. It went a lot better than I thought it was. I was really glad to have a chat going in every single one of them. Ended up chatting to you guys in the chat for far longer than I thought I would, so that was really nice. But the camera quality was not fantastic. I think we can all agree on that. Even when I was trying to show models, it was not good. It was just on the iPhone. So I would really like to get a camera. I think that could be a really nice thing. And also the money really goes towards me being able to justify me spending this much time on videos, stuff like that. What would be really nice to see. So I'll put that in the link down below, and with that, if you can't support the channel, that's absolutely fine. I understand, guys, but like I say, if you could please leave a like and subscribe and comment down below, that's all free for you guys to do so, and massively helps. And yes, so on that note, I would like to thank my patrons that are in the vampire category, and this is the people who donate at least $5 a month to me, which massively helps me. And this is going to be to Max, Simon, Kyle and Martin. Thank you very much again for your donation, guys. It really helps towards the channel for things that I've literally just stated, and that's like one of the first times I came across it, where it's like, I know a lot of people want to Carolyn Overlords, but I just can't review them because I don't have the battle tome. And if you're wondering like, well, why did you ask us for our opinion if you can't review the army, I've got a lot of battle tomes already, so it's just in case you pick one of those. And there's quite a few people, like I say, I wanted Gloomspites. And like I said, Distractions have got loads of content out there, and Gloomspites are really quite fun. And I reviewed how many? I think I reviewed 3 order now. I've reviewed Wanderers, Dispossessed, and of course the 3 people which were most recent. So yes guys, like I said, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got any comments, you played the army, let me know down below. It'd be absolutely awesome to hear. And I hope you're excited to see the army videos I'll do for the Gloomspite Gitz, as they look like a fantastic army. Like, there's a rule in there for one of the units, it's the squigs, and it's called a boing boing boing. I mean, I'm already sold at that point, if you know what I mean. If you think, well, that's just silly, then this is probably not the army for you. But if you are excited by the fact that there's a rule called boing 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 or curse splat, then oh boy, this is going to be a treat for you. So guys, I thank you very much for watching this video as always. And remember, until next time, Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash.